The Galactic Academy's Advanced Combat Theory classroom fell silent as Professor Zenthara's scales rippled with anticipation. Today marked the final examination for the most prestigious military course in known space, where representatives from 17 different species competed for elite positions in the Intergalactic Defense Force. Elsa Chen sat quietly in the back row, her small human frame dwarfed by the towering Kragans, the crystalline Vortani, and the gas-form ethereals that filled the amphitheater. For 3 years, she had endured their condescending glances and whispered comments about the fragile little human who somehow managed to keep pace with beings who could crush starships with their bare appendages. Today's examination is simple, Professor Zenthara announced, her 6 arms gesturing toward the center of the room where a shimmering force field had materialized. You must breach this barrier using only your natural abilities. No weapons, no technology, pure biological capability. One by one, the students stepped forward. Helen, the massive Kragan warrior, charged the barrier with enough force to level a building. His rhinoceros-like hide absorbed the feedback as the field sparked and flickered, but held firm. The Vortani delegate, Kristax, focused her mineral-based psychokinesis into a lance of pure energy that carved deep grooves in the barrier's surface before dissipating. Each species showcased their evolutionary advantages: toxic breath, electromagnetic pulses, matter manipulation, temporal distortion. Each attempt left the barrier weakened but intact. As the demonstrations continued, Elsa noticed something the others had missed. The barrier wasn't just deflecting their attacks, it was learning from them. Each assault made it more resistant to that particular type of force. The ethereal's phase shifting had taught it to solidify against incorporeal intrusion. The Kragan's brute force had strengthened its structural integrity. It was a perfect adaptive defense system. Finally, Professor Zenthara's gaze fell upon Elsa. Miss Chen, you are the final candidate. A ripple of amusement passed through the class. The Vortani chittered like wind chimes in a hurricane. What could the human possibly do that we have not already attempted? Kristax asked, her voice resonating like struck crystal. They have no natural weapons, no enhanced strength, no exotic abilities. They are the most unremarkable species in the galaxy. Elsa stood slowly, her heart pounding as she approached the barrier. For years she had hidden her true nature, maintaining the careful facade that humans were weak, helpless beings who had stumbled into the galactic community through sheer luck. It was a deception that had served her species well, allowing them to be underestimated while they quietly learned, adapted, and prepared. She had worn her metaphorical shield for so long that it had become second nature. But today that shield had to come down. Professor, Elsa said quietly, before I begin, I need to make something clear. My species has been economical with the truth about our capabilities. Professor Zenthara's scales shifted to a curious blue-green. Explain. Elsa took a deep breath and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, something fundamental had changed. The nervous, uncertain expression was gone, replaced by the cold, calculating gaze of an apex predator. Humans aren't remarkable for what we can do, she said, her voice carrying a new edge that made several students shift uncomfortably. We're remarkable for what we choose not to do, and what we choose to do anyway. She placed her hand against the barrier, and for a moment nothing happened, then she began to speak. This barrier has adapted to resist force, energy, phase shifting, and exotic matter states. But it was designed by beings who think in terms of overwhelming power. Her fingers traced complex patterns across the field's surface. Humans think differently. We don't always choose the strongest attack, we choose the right attack. The barrier shimmered as Elsa continued her seemingly gentle exploration of its structure. To the other students, it looked like she was merely touching it randomly. But Professor Zenthara, with her centuries of experience, began to recognize the pattern. She's mapping its resonance frequencies, the professor whispered. That's impossible, Helen rumbled. No organic being can process that level of mathematical complexity in real time. Elsa smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. You want to know what makes humans special? We're persistence hunters. For millions of years, we chased prey across endless plains, not because we were faster or stronger, but because we never, ever stopped. We tracked wounded mammoths for days. We followed herds across continents. We learned every weakness, every pattern, every flaw. Her hand moved to a specific point on the barrier, and she pressed. The entire field fluctuated. And when we couldn't overpower our prey, we outthought it. We made tools, we set traps. We cooperated in ways that turned our weaknesses into strengths. She pressed another point, and the barrier's energy readings spiked wildly. But most importantly, Elsa continued, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried to every corner of the amphitheater, we learned to be patient, to study our enemies, to let them reveal their secrets while they thought we were harmless. She pressed a third point, and the barrier collapsed entirely, its energy dissipating harmlessly into the room's collection systems. The silence that followed was absolute. The barrier was designed with a distributed energy matrix, Elsa explained matter-of-factly. 17 primary nodes, each corresponding to a different type of attack profile. By mapping the resonance cascade between the nodes, I identified the 3 critical junctions that, when simultaneously disrupted, would cause a complete system failure. Professor Zenthara's scales had cycled through 3 different color combinations, finally settling on a deep purple that indicated profound respect. Miss Chen, she said carefully, exactly how long has your species been studying us? Elsa's smile widened. Since the day we met you, Professor. We've been very, very patient students. As she walked back to her seat through a gauntlet of suddenly wary stares, Elsa reflected on the choice her species had made decades ago. They could have revealed their true nature immediately. Their pattern recognition, their strategic thinking, their terrifying ability to adapt and overcome any obstacle through pure, stubborn determination. Instead, they had chosen to wait, to learn, and to earn their place among the stars not through intimidation, but through competence. And when the time came to drop their shield, they had done so not with arrogance, but with the quiet confidence of a species that had already proven they belonged here. The impact would indeed be huge, but then again, humans had always specialized in making their mark in unexpected ways. The galaxy would never underestimate them again.